Hey guys, it's Chris, and the mess is about to get messier. Here on my desk, I received a package. Busted my phone. I received a package from one of my viewers who asked me if I could take a look at their Amiga 2000 Rev 6 board because they have a problem with it where they didn't use it for 20 something years and they clipped the battery. That's fine, doesn't look too bad, but it kind of schmutzed out, and when it did, it caused all sorts of heck. The user then attempted to replace the 68,000 socket, and things got worse from there. Never powered on, it hasn't powered on since. Battery damage didn't look too bad, but I can tell you right now, this is a freaking mess. Number one, it has a looks like 3.0 or 3.1 ROM, maybe. I don't know. It's label that's peeling off. Has an ICD flicker-free video. Haven't seen one of these in a while. Also has a DKB Mega chip with the 8375. That's great. So, from what I've been able to ascertain really quickly is the board doesn't look too bad. It has all the normal stuff that an Amiga 2000 has. It's 28.63636 NTSC clock. All the original Shoei caps. The board is not flexed or bent, but if you can take a look at that 68,000 socket, that's a little bit messed up. We got bridged pins. We have, I don't know what type of solder, some unsoldered pins, scratches, traces rubbed, and it's gonna be a stinky. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna clean the board and just de-dustify it. I don't have an ultrasonic that would fit something this big. I've heard people say stick it in the dishwasher, but hell no, I don't want to rust anything. I'm gonna do it the old-fashioned way, and that's the Mexican way, and that's manual. Just give her a clean. Mainly around power supply through 68,000 CPU socket. There's some crap all over it. Looks like it was attempted to be cleaned and, like, I don't know, like vinegar was put on here, but it wasn't cleaned with IPA. I don't know if you can even see in the side of that socket where the CPU base hits. It's got like white stuff growing on it. I don't know what that is. CPU pin has also been broken, so we'll have to check into that. Now, she does have all of her original audio jacks, white, yellow, black. Remember on the Turd Edition 2000 where I repaired the audio? That had a white, black, and yellow where I had to replace it with the red. So she's a 6.2. Should have an 88 date on the board down here, but that doesn't mean these are all 88. But here's the assembly sticker. Serial number 70,616. Assembled May 19th, 1991, right there on the assembly sticker. So if you have this sticker, that'll match, should match the number underneath the birthday of your case when you pop the lid off. Cool. I'm going to be flipping the tick jumper because I'm going to be using Amiga Kit's Amiga 2000 ATX power supply converter, onto which we're going to be slapping a couple more watts here to it on a 700 watt ATX power supply case. And if you're wondering, all this is a button to turn on or turn off, which bridges the load, of course. And then you have your normal ATX 20 pin and the Amiga 2000's standard power supply. This would plug into the 20, not the 24, because we don't need that. Whoops. We don't need that stuff. And then you just clip it on here like this, and there you have it. Just a little bit longer cable if you're interested in swapping out your old 200 water of your Amiga 2000 for something larger. You can. Meanwhile makes a good kit for this. It's just a little bit smaller and would fit in there properly. And you can even, where are you at? And you can even get like a 3D printed back shell for the fan mount. Something to look into. Thingiverse has them. But we're going to be using this. So there we go. And it says to Even on here, J300 says at motherboard location J300, cover pins 2 and 3 with a jumper to internally generate the tick signal. And that is located right south of your CIA chips, which is right here north of Paula, below the CIA. You just move this over to the second slot, and that way you can use a ATX power supply or any other power supply that generates the tick signal. 60 hertz for North America, where Jesus lives, or 50 hertz for, you know, the Eurozone. I popped out the 68,000. I was hoping to God, I'm like, please don't let there be any trace damage. Well, let me show you something. When you're taking out a 68,000, please don't go in there and go like this. Because what happens is you stick your screwdriver in here and you push down, you dig, and you cut all the CPU bus lines from the ROM to the CPU socket and the rest of the board. I don't know if you can see this, but those dots all over here, those green dots, they're not supposed to be there. They're circuit traces that need to be repaired. All along the bottom too, where it runs from RP400. Yay! That's going to be just perfect with Bodgewire City to bridge the pads to the CPU socket so they can get access to the rest of the bus. If you hear any weird noises upstairs like someone screaming, that's my dog's squeaky toy. So anyway, as you can guess by just the hope that these weren't damaged, I can guarantee you that when I take this out, there's going to be some massive damage to the vias. The solder in here, A, doesn't look like there was any flux. B, I don't know, I think it was acid core solder, not just leaded. Oh my God. We'll see. I still have to get the throughs connected and all of the lines fixed just to get it initially to power up. So this will never work the way it is. Even if you just replace the CPU socket, it's not going to work because all of these traces have been cut in half by someone sticking a screwdriver in there and prying the CPU off of the board like this, sticking it in here and prying down. That puts the screwdriver right on the board, and yeah, it gets your CPU out, but it's never going to work again. So got the old solder station fired up. I'm going to zoom in on this right here and just take a gander at this stuff. So just so you can see what I'm working with. All that white stuff, that's acid core solder. Don't use that because it eats the board away. We're going to use some Kester 186 no clean flux. We're going to put on the helmet of Goober. This is burnt through. Yeah, it's burnt through. What do I mean burnt through? Meaning I might literally just destroy the socket and pull the pins out from the top because I'm not fighting this. It is literally destroying the board in my hands as I heat the solder up. We're going to take some cutters and just cut it in the center on the plastic. So I cut them out and I can see how many traces I got broken. 28 to 29 traces are broken. That's great. Yeah, this is acid core solder and it's just got shit all over it. So all I'm doing is it's just literally melting the flux and the acid core is just eating into the board. This might have to be a heat from the bottom, just yanking from the top kind of deal. Look at the amount of on this pin. This is what acid core solder does to your board. Not good. Hello, welcome back from about an hour later. Individually, I had to remove these pins one at a time. They're right here. They're a mess. This is totally ruined. I'm going to clean and just do some basic braiding, filling, braiding, low temperature, 255 degrees Fahrenheit, just to see if I can get anything here. Yeah, I don't know what happened to this board, if it was just battery damage, but Just a little bit of IPA. Use my wife's old toothbrush here. Just trying to scrub up the funk. And this, I really have no backstory on this other than it needs a 68,000 socket. Look at this. So let's go over all the burnt pads. Missing, 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 missing. Okay, okay. Missing, totally missing. Missing, missing, broke, gone, gone. Maybe there, broke. Nothing, there. Everything else is there. So like 9 pins on that side. I don't even know on this side. I tinned as many as I could. Missing, missing, broken, missing ground. Still there, missing totally. Missing, broken, missing, broken. So top and bottom, yeah, they're broken. Don't use acid core solder, or too hot of an oven, or too hot of an iron, or too big of a tip. If you don't know what you're doing, just have someone else do it. Because you make death for the next person that's got to try and fix this. So now that I'm sticky with flux, I'm going to keep on cleaning this, and I have to try and fiberglass pen. I got to evacuate these holes and then try and fiberglass pen some stuff. It's going to be a while. Look at all the solder I've pulled out of this thing. It had so much. So, as you can see on my screen here, I have the 2000 R6 schematic pulled up. And where every single one of these turds goes, so I can figure out just what is broken. And there's a lot of stuff broken. The ground planes, I don't care. As long as one's good enough for me. Because the other one will be soldered through. So yeah, like most of these, they run to the CPU bus. I can bodge on this side. On this side I can go to the corresponding points here, or to the ROM, or the resistor packs. Luckily, all this is doable, but I have to bridge between the two, so I'm going to fix one side first, and then I'll fix to the other side. Do all the work on the bottom. Hello from many hours later. Sprint layout viewer with the 2000 file so I can do the tracing. It kind of blinks when I'm doing the test. Tells me where things go. I have went down every one of these pins with continuity pointing out. There's like probably 50% broken. 30 of them don't go to either side. Now 30 of them, those 30 do have like one point. Sometimes, like if I touch half the broken trace to the other point, it'll go there. So it's useless for me to do this like this and try and repair it, because I'm going to do all the wiring from underneath. So I'm going to mount a socket in here, and I'm going to not solder it, maybe solder it in the best I can, and then I'm going to have to bodge wire to its points. I have to do it upside down because I'm going to the underneath points. Anyway, I got all the stickiness done. This is cleaned up. It looks a hell of a lot better than it did. It looks like total ass. Remove the battery solder and pins and things that were there, and all the little Varda parts and barfed traces and what I can do. So fitting a CPU socket in here, and then testing continuity for both sides, wiring where I can, what I need to. And then once it all passes, then finally we'll be ready to rehook up things and maybe do a test. So that is a effed up 68,000 socket reinstalled. Pins are in that I could do, drug what I could do. Like for example, I'll show you how it works. You see how this is flashing pink? So I'm going to go to this top pin right here. I'm on test. So you can see at pin 1, or well, that's what I'm calling pin 1. It's not pin 1, but pin whatever the hell has to go to pin 4 of U600, right? Or is it 800? 600. Continuity. I'm just testing. I stuck a pin in from here and I stuck the other one over here. That's great. Now I have to take it from here. I can either go to the Agnes, which I'm not, or the top test point on the other side. So 1 is good. And now, because I'm not testing all 68 pins at one time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to print out a 68,000 socket and I'll mark good, bad, fixed, whatever, because I'm not going to be able to do it all in one evening. It's been a long day. This is going to take me many of those days to get it sorted. Holy Christmas. So I came up with this Slodge Podge Massive Scribble. Checks are good, X's are bad. Please note there are 2 directions to each one of these pins. Either to a resistor pack, another chip, a logic, an IC, a slot, something. A via. A lot of them are close. A couple of them aren't. I have 13 bad pins. That means 26 wires. That's going to be just flipping awesome. I'm going to do all the wires on the bottom of the board. I'm going to captain tape it too because who knows. I am utterly exhausted. It has been 3 hours and I got the socket off. I got the acid cleaned out of the acid core solder or just the leftover mess. My eyeballs hurt from looking through that thing. It's not like these are linked together. Each one of these sockets does a different thing. Like the clocks are over here, and the inits and the IPLs are up here. And that's what makes the board work. Well, kick off. A lot of these are logic, RAM. You know, all the good stuff is on the right side, basically. On this side of the 68,000, that's where all your clocks come in. That's where your main bus is in it. That's where the buster, that's where the reset, the halt, all the IPLs are on there. So that's what's going to cause your system, boop, not to work. Doesn't matter if you got something sitting in this CPU slot right here. It does not matter. If these data lines are screwed up from these 2 points where the processor plugs in, it don't matter if you can bust this and stick it over there because that's the problem. So, whoop. Yep. I am tired. I am calling it a night. Hello from another day. 260 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm using a lead tin solder. None of that lead-free crap. It has a little bit of silver in it too for shininess. So I'm going to flip the board over and I'm going to pin out where I need to go, remembering that I'm reversing myself so the left will be the right side when I flip this over. That way I can then pin out the bottom of the board here. So I'll take this bad pin and I'll wire it to where it needs to go. I'll do the old beep beep testing first just to make sure we're good. Now the underlying side of this repair looks like dookie, but remember I'm fixing some acid etched crap. So this is very lightly soldered in here, just enough to fill the holes. I did it with the Goober helmet on. I did do a couple drag traces where there was some busted throughs. Most of this is going to be just wire modded, and I'm going to have to put on the Goober helmet again just to triple check myself to make sure I didn't bridge anything. And no, it just looks just sloppy because of the burned out pins from the previous replacement of the socket. 68,000, that's 1 of 30 something. 2, 3rd, and now we have beep beep. 35 more to go. Let me blip to the future and we'll check back when I get most of this wired. If I run into anything significant, I will of course turn the camera back on and hit record. 2 wires done, tested, working. 3rd one, 4. I was able to fix the 5th busted one on this side. Up around here, a VCC, just a reflow, and that one came back to life on both sides. So 2 hours. It's not the most aesthetically pleasing. A couple of these I was able to just kind of reflow. Yep, fingernails still dead. Slammed it in the car door, for those of you who don't know. I've been using like these things. They're like finger pokers, but they help me hold wires that are super small while I use the wrong hand to solder in. Once again, I'm left-handed, so I have to kind of stretch sometimes with my right hand. No big deal. Got her all going. The weird noise you're hearing upstairs is my dog playing with a rubber chicken. One of those, you know, squeeze the rubber chicken kind of things. Anywho, what I'm going to do is readjust myself again, because I don't do that enough. I'm going to go through one more time, continuity check every single pin. If that pans out, I'm going to put some Kapton tape over here after I clean off my flux residue, and just lock these down, just this area, just kind of poof. That way it's protected against any other schmutz or goop or banging, or just in case. Okay guys, it's been 3-4 hours. Anywho, CPU's back in there. Look at this pile of joy. So that is wiring around the double times, and was able to tickle a couple of the posts and rejuvenate them. So we started out with 16 bad pins this way. 16 bad pins from 1 to 68. And then after my second go round, we had 1 or 2 that I must have forgotten or had the icon. What the hell is that? On the wrong, had the icon on the wrong location on the Sprint layout. Must have screwed something up. So anyway, went through those. Glad I checked them. Always double check yourself. And printed out 3. Only needed 2, which is great. So I will Kapton tape this. Kapton tape, not captain of a ship. We'll Kapton tape this sucker up. But now it's time. So we're all hooked up. I got the 1084. This is my 1992 1084S D1 with the rear button. It's set for RGB, which is the normal Amiga thing. It's got a Commodore Amiga cable. I have Workbench something in the drive. I'm going to take it out now. I put the ICD flicker fixer back in because Denise was so loose. I reseated Gary and Paula and the CIAs. That's it. Left Buster alone. Don't have any Zorro slots in there. No real big deal on that. So what I'm going to do is just take it no disk in and just press the power button, and we should get our ROM screen. Hopefully. I don't know. I don't have any lights. It's going to take a second because I have J301, yeah, set for DFO DF1. There we go. 3.1 ROM. Bingo, chingo. That's a nice clear screen too. I'm going to insert my Gotek disc. I'm going to go to, what is this? What is it? Workbench 3.1? La 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 la. Okay, so we're going to Workbench 3.1 in the Gotek. Let's let it load. Booting. I have to adjust my thing. 2 megs a chip. Nothing else in there. Workbench 3.1. Workbench 3.1 ROM. The Amiga 2000 with the CPU death has been repaired. Clear fingernail polish over anything that has been opened up that I can see. And it looks like we're good to go. I'm going to test a couple other things like audio and an internal floppy disk. Right now I'm booting off my Gotek so I don't have to wait for the long delay. Let's see if the RGB to HDMI or this thing has... yeah. So this is a 7 megahertz Amiga 2000. So this is 7 megahertz and it runs fine. Mouse just blows eggs, but cool. 7 megahertz Amiga 2000, 2 megs of chip RAM, power supply is working. I will have to move the jumper back for the internal Amiga power supply tick, J300, boop, because I'm using an ATX power supply, just so a known good power supply. But another Amiga saved, and thank you guys for watching. It's been a long journey. This one only took me about 4 or 5 hours total. Did take some breaks, but we're good to go. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps someone, and I hope you learned something.